So losses in consignment. This is our last topic in the consignment chapter. Now, what does this mean? So how do we make the treatment of losses if there are in consignment? So we all know consignment is when one person is sending goods to the other person to be sold on his behalf, right? So when goods are being sent, anything might happen to the goods. The goods might be stolen. The goods might incur with some accident. There could be some fire in the process of transport. There could be some fire when the goods are stored in the godown, or there could be theft when goods are stored in the godown. Anything might happen, right? So if such things are happening, then how do we treat this losses in consignment is our topic for the day. So we will move forward. Outcomes I've just put as the meaning of consignment, losses, and how to treat the losses. So meaning of consignment, I hope everyone is perfect with this now. When goods are sent by one person to another person to be sold on his behalf and for a commission, we call that business as consignment. The person who is sending the goods is called as the consignor, and the one who is receiving the goods to be sold is called as the consignee. Right? And the goods which are sent between both of them, we call them as goods sent on consignment. And whatever accounting procedure we are following for this is called as consignment accounts. So now coming to losses. So it is possible that some of the goods sent on consignment are lost on the way or in transit or damaged or stolen. So anything might happen, right? When we are sending the goods from one place to another, they might be lost on the way, they might be lost, they might be damaged on the way, or they might incur with some accident on the way. And the entries to adjust the loss of goods in the books of consignor will depend upon the type of loss. So if such a loss is happening, naturally it has to be borne by the consignor. The consignee is nowhere related to the losses. He is concerned with how much quantity of goods he has received, what are his expenses, his commission, how much sales he has made, and finally, what is the final amount which he has to remit to the consignor. So if goods are lost during the transit period, the consignee is nowhere related to that loss. So we will not have any change in the books of consignee then. The only change will be that we need to be clear how many goods the consignee is receiving, right? But in case of consignor's books, we will have to make some treatment because consignor is responsible for this loss. And the entries which we have to make in his books will be dependent on which type of loss it is. So basically, losses of in consignment are of two types. We call them as normal loss and abnormal loss. We have these two major types of losses in consignment. So we will see each one what it is. Now coming to normal loss. So normal loss is incurred due to the inherent nature of the product. So maybe, for example, we are consigning such a product which by its character has the property of shrinking. So maybe if the product is transported in sunlight, the product shrinks with sunlight, then what can we do? It is an unavoidable loss, right? We cannot avoid its property. And there are certain types of losses which get, certain types of products, maybe some liquids which get evaporated sometimes. So if we are consigning 1000 liters of a liquid, and during transit, around 10 liters of liquid got evaporated. So finally, the product reached the consignee, it was only 990 liters. So such type of losses are called as normal losses. So what happens with this type of loss? It is the inherent quality of the product which is unavoidable. I cannot stop the product from evaporating. I cannot stop the product from shrinking. Some part of it is lost when I bring it to the normal thing. So such type of losses are called normal losses, and it is not in the hands of either the consignor or consignee to save it. It is a loss which is unavoidable. I cannot avoid this loss. So such losses in consignment are called as normal losses. And in case of normal loss, there is no entry to be passed. We do not have any extra treatment. Only thing what we have to remember is when you are calculating the value of unsold stock, we have to take it by the number of good units left. See how it is, I'll explain you. For example, we have consigned 200 goods, maybe at a price of 10,000 rupees, right? I have consigned 200 goods at a price of 10,000 rupees. Now, during transit, when the goods were being consigned to the consignee, during transit, 20 units were lost in transit. So there was a loss of 20 units. Now, when the goods have reached the consignee, the quantity is only 180. So earlier, the cost of 200 units was 10,000 rupees. Now, whenever there is a normal loss, what we have to treat is the cost of 180 units becomes 10,000. So it means that the good units have to bear the loss of bad units. So earlier 10,000 rupees were for 200 units. But now because 20 units is a normal loss and it is something which is unavoidable, the cost of 180 units will become 10,000. That means the cost of the units is increasing. Because the consignor doesn't have any other go, right? It is unavoidable loss. So what he will do, he will increase the cost of good units. So cost of unsold stock will become cost of goods sent on consignment into the units of unsold stock divided by total number of units minus units of normal loss. So what we were doing earlier, we were dividing by total number of units. Now what we have to do, we have to divide by total number of good units. That is, from total units, remove the normal loss units. Right? So only thing what you have to remember here is whenever there is a normal loss, there is no extra entry to be passed. We have to be careful only when we are calculating the unsold stock or the consignment stock. There, when you are dividing the number of units, it should be the good units only. Because in case of normal loss, the consignor will increase the cost of the goods. He will increase it increases the cost price of the goods because it is an unavoidable loss which is not in his hands. Right? So we don't have to value it or exclude it from the consignment account because it is a normal loss. But while valuing the closing stock, the cost or the expenses which are incurred for the total quantity and which must be considered for stock valuation, they will be divided by the normal quantity and not by the total quantity. So every time we are dividing by total quantity, but now we have to remember that we have to divide it by the number of good units. That is total quantity minus the units of normal loss. Right? So normal quantity equals to total quantity minus the normal loss units. And if there is any scrap value of normal loss, it should be credited to the consignment account. So as I told, it is there in the inherent product, quality of the product, right? So if something can be sold for scrap, if there is some scrap value of normal loss, then that scrap value should be credited to the consignment account. So that is it we have to remember for normal loss. We don't have any extra treatment. Only if there is a scrap value, we will take it on the credit side. And when we are valuing the consignment stock, we will divide it by the number of good units. That's it. So normal loss treatment is very, very simple. Now we proceed further to the other type of loss, which is called as the abnormal loss. And this is very, very important for us. Now, what is abnormal loss? The loss which occurs due to the carelessness or abnormal reasons, we call it as abnormal loss. That means this loss has occurred either due to the negligence or the carelessness, maybe either of the consignor or the consignee. So such type of loss, we call it as abnormal loss. So for example, the goods have been stolen on the way. So that is something which we could have avoided. The consignor had to be more alert. He should have been prepared for such type of loss. So the losses which are avoidable and which do not arise due to the nature of the goods, we call such losses as abnormal loss. Now just think of one thing. If goods are lost on the way, maybe someone has stolen the goods. Now because these goods have been stolen, the consignor cannot increase the cost of the goods, right? The customer will not bear that loss because this is the loss due to the negligence of the consignor. So who should bear this? This should be borne only by the consignor in his personal account. We cannot call this loss as loss on consignment because there is profit in this business. But because your goods are stolen, you cannot say that entire thing is lost. So I will increase the cost of the goods. That cannot be possible, right? So any loss which happens due to the negligence or carelessness of the person, which is avoidable and which does not arise due to the nature of the goods, such losses are called as abnormal losses. Abnormal losses may be due to fire, due to theft, due to pilferage, etc. So whenever you are seeing a loss in the question, you should first identify whether it is a normal loss or an abnormal loss. If it is a normal loss, we do not have any specific treatment for it. But if it is an abnormal loss, it has to be treated. And remember, abnormal loss is something which is avoidable loss, which happens due to the negligence of the person and which could have been avoided, right? So the value of abnormal loss is calculated in the same way as we calculate the value of unsold stock or consignment stock. So it is very, very simple to calculate the value of abnormal loss. So I know that I have lost 20 units while the goods were being transported. There was a fire and due to the fire, 20 units were totally lost. So what I should do, I should calculate the value of this abnormal loss. And how do I calculate the value? This value is calculated on the basis of, on the same way how we calculate the value of our consignment stock. We all know there are simple 3 steps in the calculation of consignment stock. So similar 3 steps we will follow to calculate the value of abnormal loss. And what do we do? Where will we take this abnormal loss? This abnormal loss will be credited to the consignment account. Are you getting it? The value of abnormal loss will be credited to the consignment account as we are crediting the consignment stock account. Now you might have a question, why are we crediting it? It is a loss, so it should be debited, isn't it? But as I told you, this loss is due to the negligence of the consignor. So it will be debited in the overall profit and loss account of the consignor. See, this consignor might be sending 10 different consignments. So in one consignment, he might be having profit. In one consignment, he might be having loss. Finally, he will calculate his overall P&L account. So in that P&L account, this loss will be debited. But in consignment, we cannot debit this loss because if we are debiting it, the cost price of our product will increase. And we cannot do that. The customer will not bear this loss. It is due to our negligence. So what we do, we will credit this abnormal loss in our consignment account. And most of the times, such losses are generally insured by the insurance company. So I can get my goods insured. So if the consignor had got insurance for his goods, maybe insurance of fire, insurance of theft, all this, if he has got it insured, the insurance company will come and inspect wherever the accident has happened. They will inspect the place and then they will give some insurance claim. So what we do, we take that claim and we adjust our losses. And there is one more thing. This claim is sometimes given in full, sometimes it is partially paid, sometimes the goods are not insured at all. So if goods are insured, there are 2 chances. Either the insurance company may accept the claim in full. Accept the claim in the sense, so I tell the insurance company that I have lost 50 units of goods which come to a value of 20,000. This is my calculation. So what the insurance company will do, they will come there, they will inspect the place, they will check everything, and then they will say that no, the actual loss is only 30,000. Sorry, I calculated that I have lost 50,000. Insurance company says no, the loss is only 30,000, so we will pay you only 30,000. Then what happens? I get the claim of 30,000 and my actual loss is reduced only to 20,000 rupees. Sometimes the company says, okay, they have inspected the place, everything, and they say, yes, your actual loss is totally 50,000. So I get the entire claim from insurance company. Sometimes the insurance company says, no, this is not an actual accident. You did it wantedly. So we are not accepting any claim. So in that case, the entire 50,000 is my loss. So what we have to do is, whenever there is an abnormal loss in the question, we will first find out the value of abnormal loss. And how do we find out the value? In the same way as we treat the consignment stock. We will take the value of cost price of the goods damaged. We will add a proportionate expenses of consignor. We will add proportionate expenses of consignee. And then we will calculate the value of abnormal loss. And that value we will credit it to the consignment account. Right? After crediting to the consignment account will be closed. We will calculate the profit. That is done. There is no other difference in any other account. Only difference is in consignment account, you will take the value of abnormal loss on the credit side. Second important change here is you will open another account called the abnormal loss account. So in the abnormal loss account, you will take the value of abnormal loss. You will take the value of how much you are receiving from the insurance company, and you will find out the final loss and transfer that final loss to the overall profit and loss account of the consignor. So now, in short, if I have to explain, whenever there is an abnormal loss, what we should do? In the books of consignee, there is no change. Consignee's books will remain as it is. We will do it as we were doing earlier. In the books of consignor, the only change is in the consignment account. Other accounts will not change. The goods sent on consignment account, the consignee's account, this will not change. These will remain as it is. Only changes in the consignment account. You will have one extra entry in the consignment account, and that extra entry is for the abnormal loss. So we have to find out the value of abnormal loss, credit it to the consignment account. Second important change is we will open another account called the abnormal loss account. That's it. These are the two extra things we will be doing now. Three extra things in fact. First is calculate the value of abnormal loss. Second thing, credit the abnormal loss in the consignment account. Third one, prepare the abnormal loss account. So these three are extra things which we will be doing now. Otherwise, our entire procedure remains the same. So whenever you see abnormal loss in the question, first calculate the value of abnormal loss. Second one, credit the abnormal loss in the consignment account. And third one, prepare the abnormal loss account. If we do this, our problem is solved. So see, abnormal loss is calculated in under. You can just quickly read these slides. I have explained everything. So you need not get confused with these slides. I've explained you the procedure properly. One important thing what you have to remember is whenever there is an abnormal loss during transit, and when you are calculating the value, you will not add the consignee's expenses. Why are we not going to add? Because consignee did not receive those goods at all. Those were lost in transit only. And don't worry about these things. You will understand when we are doing the problem. See this slide once. The abnormal loss is to be borne by the consignor. As such, the required entries will be passed in the books of consignor only. Remember, there is no change in the books of consignee. The change is only in the books of consignor. So when abnormal loss occurs, what is the entry passed? Abnormal loss account data to consignment account. As I told you, we'll have to credit the consignment account with the value of abnormal loss. So that is our first change. Pass that entry. Then, if the stock is insured and in the insurance company is admitting the claim, the entry is like this. Insurance company account data with the amount of claim admitted, P&L account data with the amount of claim that is not admitted to abnormal loss account with the total amount of abnormal loss. And finally, for receiving the claim, bank account data to insurance company account when we receive the claim from the insurance company. That is, we are getting a check, and who is giving the check? The insurance company is giving. So I will pass that entry as back to insurance company. So in my journal entries, these 3 entries will increase. And in my actual calculation, 3 steps will increase. Step number 1 for calculating the value of abnormal loss. Step number 2 for crediting the consignment account with abnormal loss. Step number 3 for preparing the abnormal loss account. When I'm actually doing the problem, these 3 steps will increase. These 3 journal entries will increase. And consignees books will remain as usual. No change in the journal entries, no change in the ledger account. So are we clear with abnormal loss? Now you can ask me your doubts. Whatever you did not understand, you can ask me. Yes, anyone has a doubt? Did you understand what is abnormal loss and how are we calculating it?
Ma'am, what if the loss happens after the goods reach the godown?
After the goods reach the godown, then also we will do the same treatment. In that case, we will add the consignee's expenses also, proportionate part of consignee's expenses also.
But the consignor is still responsible.
Yeah, consignor only is the risk, because you remember the rule of consignment. The consignor is sending the goods at his own risk. So the risk still belongs to the consignor only. But you need to see when the goods were lost. If it is lost before they have reached the consignee, we will not add consignee's expenses. If they have lost after they have reached the consignee, then we will add consignee's expenses also. So we have done with the explanation part of our abnormal losses.